YouTube, what it is, what it ain't. It's your guy, Tyler Jones, what's cracking, peeps, what it is. Earnest Money Deposit, We're going to talk about money deposit real quick here. Got a message from Jermaine Smith. Well, not a message. I got a comment on a recent video from Jermaine Smith, who's a subscriber to the channel. Shout out to you, Jermaine. Jermaine had a question about earnest money deposit, and the reason I wanted to do a video on it because I do get a lot of questions about earnest money deposit. And like I say, anytime y'all want me to do a video on something, just drop, just put it in the comments, and eventually I get around to do a video for it. But let's read Jermaine's comment, which he left about a week ago on one of the videos. It says, "What's up, Toddy? Great video, very informative. Can you do a video on earnest money deposit process? I see many videos saying that they put down $10 to $100 EMD. Some say $1,000 plus. Some say they put down nothing, and some say the buyer pays the EMD. How do you formulate how much to put down with your seller? And what do you do if you don't have $1,000 to $2,500 to put down on the property? Thanks in advance. Keep up the great work, bro." Great question. Earnest money deposit. Let's first start off with earnest money deposit. Most of y'all already know what earnest deposit is. Some may not, but if you don't, earnest money deposit is essentially a down payment on a house. Just like, let's say if you go to a car dealership, you buy a new car. Let's say you put down $1,000 on this car for the down payment. Now, traditionally speaking, vast majority of the times in that situation with the car, when you put down that $1,000 for your down payment on that new car, you're going to walk out the same day with that car. 98% of the time from my own personal experience. Now, on the real estate side, when you put down your earnest money deposit, you are really not going to get the house in your possession, or you won't become the owner of the house that same day. The earnest money deposit, or the down payment on the real estate side, is basically a retainer. It's basically a reservation to buy this property. So if you're selling a house and I put down an earnest money deposit with you, that's pretty much my retainer, my reservation that, hey, I'm going to buy this house from you. And we and you and I would decide in the terms of our agreement what day we would close on the house. So when you're marketing a house, you're selling a house, and that earnest money deposit essentially what someone is giving you for the rights to buy that house. And once you get the earnest money deposit, you go ahead and you take the house off the market. Essentially meaning you stop marketing it. If you got it on Craigslist, Truly or Zillow, what have you. The earnest money deposit is basically them giving you money to say, hey, I'm going to buy this house from you. And then you go ahead and you take that house off the market. Now, let me go back over his questions again. All right, as far as me, I'll start off with me. My earnest money deposit that I pay my seller, 95% of the time I have not put no money down. Nothing at all. Not one red cent. Nothing at all. 95% of the deals that I've done, I have put no money at all down. Nada, zero, zilch. In fact, I went ahead and I pulled the last two contracts that I got signed with a seller. I took them out, and I want to show y'all kind of like when I write up my contract as far as the earnest money goes. Let's see. Okay, can y'all see? I'm terrible with this, but if you can see that line right there where it's blank, you see 55 at the bottom. That line is blank. That's above 55,000 is where I could have wrote in how much I'm gonna pay for earnest money, but I'm not paying anything for earnest money. Not paying anything at all. So I left that blank. And that's how I write up my contract to reflect, hey, I'm not putting anything down on that property. And as you can see here, this is the second part of the contract. I signed for it, seller signed for it. No problems at all. You probably can even see the date on there, which is July 16th. So you can see that this is a very recent contract. So no earnest money deposit at all. Seller agreed to the terms and the price that the amount of money that I offered. Earnest money deposit never even was discussed in this deal on the phone, in person, nothing. Never discussed earnest money. Another one here. Y'all can see this one. All right, you probably can see that a little better. I'm sorry to put this in y'all face like this, but y'all know I suck with YouTube. Anybody else could just screenshot this stuff and put it on their YouTube channel, but I ain't good. But you see that line is blank, that's where the earnest money would supposedly be written in at. But again, being I'm not putting any earnest money down, just leave it blank. I don't even put nothing there. I just add like that part of the contract don't even exist. And as you can see here, I signed for it here. Seller signed for it here. No problems, no questions asked. I didn't talk about earnest money. They didn't bring up earnest money. So when I get an agreement from the seller to sell me the house, I don't even discuss earnest money, y'all. When I'm writing in them contracts, I write in the numbers, sign it. You know, if we got to put some amendments in the contracts, I write it in. But I don't even. To me, it's like in my mind, like it don't exist because I'm going in this thinking beforehand. I'm not gonna put anything down anyway. So when I'm talking to my seller, I don't even talk about it. I really don't. And 9 out of 10 of them, they don't talk about it. They already kind of understand that they'll get paid at closing. Now there will be some customers that you have to explain the process to. Some of them think you're gonna just do like a short sale. You get them $5,000 and they'll write you a deed or title to the house. But that's not how I'm operating. So sometimes you may have to tell them sometimes like, hey, this is our purchase agreement for me to buy the house. We're going to do this officially with a closing attorney. Or if you in a state where you use title attorneys, explain to them that you're going to do it with a title attorney. And then they will get paid the day of closing. They'll get everything entitled to them as part of your agreement with them at closing. So go ahead and explain that to them. But I don't, as far as my deals go, I just don't even plan to put earnest money down. It's not even in my repertoire as far as my strategies with sellers or anything. I just don't go in it looking for earnest money deposit down. I've done it twice. Once I put down $1,000 for a property, and once I put down $500 for a property. Now, the property I put down $500 for, I probably could have got this property with nothing down at all because I brought up earnest money. And I'll tell you why I brought up earnest money. I never bring up earnest money when I'm dealing with sellers. But I'm going to tell you why in this position, in this situation, I brought up earnest money. I could tell my seller was motivated. In the house that he had, I knew I could sell it. I could sell that house very easy. Excellent shape, y'all. Excellent. He could have really put it on the MLS, but he decided not to go that route. But I knew I could sell it. There was no doubt in my mind I could sell this house quick, fast, in a hurry. So the reason I told him I give him $500 because we was in his kitchen, we was negotiating on the price. I was here, he was here, but we were close. And and I was starting to read him. I could tell he was ready to go ahead and say yeah, but he really wanted a little more. So I said, you know what? I'll go ahead and give you $500 right now tonight. We go ahead and sign a purchase agreement. We'll go ahead and knock this out. Now, when I told him I'd give him $500 for the deposit, bam, I got him. It was just like catching a fish. Got him on the hook. Got him. So that's the only reason in that situation I went with earnest money because I kind of felt like I needed to put some cash in his hand in order to go ahead and lock him up at that specific time. I didn't want to give him time to think about it. I know I had him on the ropes, so I want to go ahead and lock him up. So offered him in that situation, and I knew I could sell the house, so I wasn't worried about losing my money. And the next one was put down $1,000, and this was a property in a great, excellent area here in my market. It needed repairs, but it needed a lot of repairs. Any experienced investor could have took the house and did what they needed to do to it without any big issues at all. And It was a very nice house, great neighborhood, big, beautiful house, great layout. So I knew I could sell that one too. So I went ahead and gave her 1,000 because she was adamant to get 1,000. She wouldn't do the deal unless I gave her 1,000. So in that situation, she brought up earnest money, and I'm like, huh? What, earnest money? But no. But I didn't want to give it to her, to be honest with y'all. But I did. And that's just because I knew I could sell the house. I knew it. I knew I could sell the house at the price that we agreed upon. But she wouldn't sign the contract. She wouldn't sign the contract unless she got earnest money. And my Alexa done went off somewhere. Alexa, stop. But yeah. But that's how I go. Those are the two situations that I did put out earnest money. But otherwise, y'all, I'm not talking earnest money with these sellers at all. From my experience, and this is maybe just relative to my market, but the real motivated ones, they ain't asking me about no earnest money at all. So as far as that go, that's how the earnest money go. Now with your buyers, it's a different ball game. Whereas I'm just sitting here telling you, hey, don't get that seller no money. don't get that seller no money. Now I'm telling you, when you turn around and flip the house to a buyer, you need that earnest money from that buyer. Whether that be $500, $1,000, $2,000, $2,500, $3,500, whatever. But you definitely need to get earnest money from your buyers, without a doubt, y'all. You need earnest money from your buyers. You determine how much you get from them, but you always want to at least shoot for 1,000. Some of them ain't gonna give you but 500, and that's fine. Don't turn down a $500. Don't turn down a deal because they want to give you 500 and not 1,000. Take the $500, because if they give you $500, then yeah, they're still serious about the property. $1,000 is even better. The more the merrier, but get the earnest money deposit from the buyers, because that now gives them financial interest in this contract. And that way that somebody ain't told you they're going to buy a house from you, and you thinking you got a deal, and 2 weeks later they hitting you up, or, oh man, I can't do it. Or 2 weeks later you hitting them up, hey man, let's go ahead and close on this house. You can't get them on the phone. And now you may lose out your deal. You may lose your deal out. Your contract may expire because you thought you had a buyer lined up. So definitely get your earnest money from your buyers. And the way that goes, and I'm sorry, I didn't explain part of the question too. Let me back up a little bit. When you put earnest money deposit down to a seller, you get that money back. You're not just losing that money. You'll get it back at closing. So you will get that money back. So you'll get it back when the buyer come in and they buy the house. Then that's when you'll get your assignment fee, which will include the earnest money that you put in as well. So you would definitely get that back. Another thing with earnest money is a very key thing with earnest money is you have something to call a due diligence period. Due diligence period. That's basically a period where that buyer who has put down earnest money, they have a certain amount of time to inspect that house, to look at the house, to change their mind, and still get their deposit back. Now, this is very common. So if you have a buyer that tells you, hey, I want a 7, 10, 14-day due diligence period, it's fine. And here in this market, most of the houses I'm dealing with, I'm not dealing with super mansions, so most of my buyers are fine with a 3 to 7 day due diligence period. 3-5 days, fine. But the due diligence period does allow the buyer to change his mind if they go and look at if they see something, or they find something wrong with the house, or they just decide for whatever reason they don't want to buy it, then you do have to return that earnest money to that buyer. And if you, as the wholesaler, if you give a seller earnest money and you have a due diligence period in your contract with the seller, and for whatever reason the deal is not going to work, you can also get your money back as well, as long as you get it back within that due diligence period. So if you got if you got a buyer and you've given them a 10-day due diligence period, and the buyer calls you, hey, Tidy man, I'm sorry, but this ain't gonna work out. And, you know, it's way more than I thought it would be once I got my contract over there. So if I gave that buyer a 10-day due diligence period, he called me back day 9, I got to give him his money back. And now, that's on your buyer side, it's the wholesaler. You don't want to, you know, give people like 30, 45, 60-day due diligence periods for the very most part. Like I say, most buyers, 3, 5, maybe 7 days. That's all they need. A lot of buyers, they don't need due diligence periods. A lot of buyers, if they want the house, they're gonna tell you they want it, write up a contract right there when they look at it. But some of them do request a due diligence period. So expect that. But that's pretty much it. Let me go back over Jermaine's question again, make sure I didn't leave anything out. Yeah, but that is pretty much it, y'all. That's pretty much how it goes for your earnest money deposit, EMD, as it is abbreviated. But that's pretty much how it works, y'all. You know, so try your best when you're dealing with your sellers. You don't want to give them any money. And when it comes down to it, like I said earlier, don't even talk about earnest money. And you know, your focus is I'm not putting anything out of pocket. Some people, as part of their offer, they'll offer a $10 earnest money deposit just to lock the contract in. Me myself, I don't offer nothing. I don't even bring it up. It's like Greek. When I fill out them contracts, I'm writing in my stuff and I'm jumping right past that line, going on about my business, trying to get their signature on the back end. But that's pretty much it, y'all. Go ahead and check out. Please subscribe to the channel. Click on that bell that's by my name, and that way you can get notified when I do drop videos. And again, if you got any questions, you want me to do a video on something, put it in the comments. We'll talk about it. Follow me on Instagram, TIDY_Jones, Tiddy Jones, Tiddy_Jones, my Instagram. Peace out, man. Y'all be good. I'm out of here.